Live from Augusta. You're watching News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Investigating the investigators. Tonight, the I-Team has a copy of a new report looking at how police handled a case involving two men. One spent weeks behind bars. The other arrest vanished once Burke County Sheriff got involved. But first up, some big events happening tonight. Here's a live look at Christmas in Columbia County and the Aiken downtown tree lighting ceremony. We're going to have more from both those events coming up soon. But Riley, you're tracking rain for the weekend that has already forced some Christmas events to change plans.
Yeah, I'm glad they pushed those tree lighting ceremonies to tonight, Richard, because we're looking beautiful the rest of this evening and tonight. No need to grab the umbrella. Friday, we're going to wake up in the 40s, afternoon highs staying in the 60s. Have a look at the weekend for you in just about 10 minutes.
Tonight, an update in the case of a disappearing arrest in Burke County. An outside agency that investigated how Waynesboro police handled that arrest says those officers did nothing wrong. This summer, the I-Team uncovered how two men connected to the very same felony case had two very different experiences following their arrest. One has a mugshot and sat in jail for weeks before he was allowed out on bond. The other spent no time behind bars. He does not have a mugshot. There's not even a record of his arrest in the system. The only difference, Burke County Sheriff Alfonso Williams got involved, telling the I-Team he was a prominent businessman who'd been in the community for years. All the charges were eventually dropped, but one of those men tried to fight back. He's accusing the police of giving bad information to the courts and in turn to the I-Team. But Meredith, you have results of this investigation that say otherwise.
I do. It is more than 40 pages put together by a retired GBI agent who now has his own private company. Waynesboro PD hired him not long after we showed you this body cam video. It is body cam video of Gary Flakes Jr. getting arrested, and not long after we showed it to you, Flakes hired an attorney. He says you never should have seen the video in the first place because he never should have been arrested in the first place. But a retired GBI agent found Waynesboro officers did have probable cause to take him to jail. If you went looking for a record of this arrest,
We got felony warrants on you.
Oh my God.
you would not find it in any computer system. That's because it doesn't exist on paper. But the I-Team found it on body cam.
I've been talking to Alfonso and Lee, trying to get to the bottom of this bull. This is bull.
It's important to note, this is a Waynesboro PD case, but listen to that again.
I've been talking to Alfonso.
Alfonso, as in Burke County Sheriff Alfonso Williams, who has no jurisdiction in this case. But as sheriff, he's in charge of the Burke County Detention Center.
Am I staying at the city tonight or
No, you go to county. We don't have jail.
We know Flakes makes it to the detention center. And body cam captures a Waynesboro police officer taking him inside. The officer's camera is still rolling as he handles initial paperwork. But not long after, he leaves.
All right, y'all.
As the I-Team first told you, this is where Flakes should have been fingerprinted and had a mugshot taken. But that never happened, and the new report could shed some light on why. It says Sheriff Alfonso Williams called the jail and told the jailer, don't let him go in front of the officer out of respect, but as soon as the officer left, let him go deal with his emergency and he can turn himself in later. More on that emergency in a minute, but first, more on letting him go. Sheriff Williams elaborated when he was a radio guest on the Austin Road Show.
Don't fingerprint him, don't process him, let him go deal with the emergency, and we'll deal with this later. And they said, okay, Sheriff, we'll do that.
According to the new report, the Waynesboro police chief remembers it differently. He told the investigators, quote, he was under the impression Flakes was going to be booked first, then released. He says the sheriff told him about Flakes' son being in a wreck, and he was going to release him. Flakes was arrested at the scene of that crash, that emergency. It's also where body cam captured Flakes more than once, mentioning Burke County Sheriff Alfonso Williams' involvement.
Did you talk to him?
No, he didn't answer. I'll keep trying.
Just let him know I'm pissed because I could have easily just been called. It didn't have to go down like this.
In the new report, Flakes told the investigator he told his wife to call Alfonso. Another person at the center of this, Alawan Bryant, known around town as Miss Mona. Both Flakes and Daniel Nunn were arrested on felony charges related to the sale of her house. The warrants note Flakes paid $28,467, even though the fair market value was a little more than $71,000, accusing him of taking advantage of an elderly, disabled woman. The report establishes Flakes as someone who invests in homes like Miss Mona's, buying them, improving them, and then flipping them for a profit. Flakes told the investigator in regards to the dementia, the news media demolished him. Flake stated everyone pushed the issue Bryant was diagnosed with dementia.
Yeah, it's all because I had a nurse doctor come and see me.
Because medical records are protected for privacy reasons, the I-team could only get this document. An order Waynesboro PD sent Bryant's doctors for records pertaining to a dementia diagnosis. According to the new report, 2 different Waynesboro officers told the investigator Bryant's doctor provided them with a note saying Bryant was not mentally capable of making important decisions, but only after the charges were dismissed against Flakes and Nunn. Both also stated they received help from members of the former Crimes Against the Vulnerable and Elderly, or CAVE, task force during the investigation. But the report also outlines quite a bit of help from the district attorney's office as well. Specifically, Chief Assistant DA Kevin Davis, who dismissed the warrants. He told the investigator he reviewed some of the evidence, and there was some indication that Bryant at times was confused and disoriented. But as a prosecutor, he would need to show the court she was confused and disoriented the exact moment she sold the house. Her doctor was unable to show that, and the closing attorney would testify Bryant seemed fine. Davis says that creates reasonable doubt. When Davis dismissed the warrants against Flakes and Nunn, that's exactly what he checked. Probable cause for the warrant, but not sufficient evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. But he did point this out. With dementia, you can have good days and bad days. So it's possible she was disoriented when she met with investigators, but had a good day when she met with the lawyer and closed the sale. He also said when they made the decision to dismiss the charges, they did it with a referral to legal services to see if there was any way they could help Bryant. Part of Flakes' concern was what was in the public record. In his complaint, he specifically said our I-team reports reflected incomplete information and distorted facts. The investigator did not look into facts provided to us, to the media, because Waynesboro PD did not provide those records. He wrote, all info was completed through Frales and Wilson, attorney at law. I can personally confirm that all records I received were through that law firm. So what's next? There is a civil case hearing on this coming up February 5th. And of course, the I-team will keep you posted.
Meredith Anderson with that follow-up tonight. Meredith, thank you. Now, if you want to read the full report for yourself or watch any of the other investigations, head over to our Wrdw app or the website. The GBI has wrapped up its investigation on the Richmond County deputy who fatally shot himself while he was under investigation. Investigator Brian Manicky was found dead in his car by the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. That was back in September. A spokesperson says the case will be turned over to the district attorney for review. The parents of 2 girls accused him of posting their children's pictures in a Facebook group called Taboo. The parents filed a complaint with Internal Affairs. The GBI also determined Manicky used his issued weapon when he shot himself in September. For months now, construction projects have been all over downtown Augusta, leaving some eyesores for some neighbors and causing headaches for drivers just trying to get through. Growing pains, leaders hope, will help transform Augusta into more of a tourist destination. Hallie Turner spoke with the Development Authority to see what else might be on the horizon.
On Upper Broad Street, cash registers are ringing, and there isn't a free parking spot around.
Over the last 3 years, I think we've had a net gain of 150 businesses, which is great.
But it's a different story on Lower Broad Street.
You know, there's always one part of Broad that doesn't develop as quickly as other areas, and that was Lower Broad, because you have to look and see what's down there.
The owner of Urban K9, Tanya Boswell, says it's nothing but orange barrels, construction, and empty storefronts right now.
It's deterring. I've lost customers because they don't want to be around the construction work down here.
When Boswell opened up Urban K9 less than a year ago, she didn't think construction would be her year-round competition.
Thought it was going to be like, hey, we're going to replace the trees, the lights, and we're going to redo yours, then we'll start on another street. Not like we are going to disrupt all of 5th Street, start on 6th Street, 8th Street.
While Upper Broad Street has seen a lot of growth from the Hyatt House Hotel to Tiffany Blue's dress shop opening, the DDA says since the pedestrian street bridge went into place, they are steadily working to grow Lower Broad.
We've already seen a new restaurant under construction, and we're starting to see some buildings in the area go under construction. It's called the halo effect.
And while they are hoping the 5th Street Bridge will help expand the footprint, Boswell says the only thing she sees growing is frustration.
They're starting and not completing. And that's the part I think everybody's frustrated about. Once they get done, it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be great. But you're talking 5 years before you're done.
So some growing pains downtown, but the DDA does say to expect to hear some announcements in the coming months about new businesses and restaurants signing on for the lower Broad Street area. Okay, the fun just beginning here on News 12. We're live from Christmas in Columbia County with a special guest. Straight ahead, Riley.
And luckily, looking dry for the rest of this evening and tonight, but you can see all that rain heading our way for the weekend. We'll have that full forecast next.
There are so many events happening tonight across the area. Just minutes ago, they lit the Columbia County Christmas tree in a spectacular show there. And we're live in Aiken for their ceremony this evening. Riley, just a great night to head out there to any of those events as the folks in Columbia County just saw that tree lit there.
It is, Richard, and I think it was a good move that they did push these to tonight instead of tomorrow night or even this weekend, because that's when the rain chances do look to ramp up across the area. So take advantage of the beautiful weather out there. Once we get into next week, that's when we start to dry out again. Temperatures will stay in the 60s Monday, Tuesday, but cooling off to highs in the 50s by next Wednesday and Thursday.
Thank you, Riley. As we mentioned, a lot of families are turning out right now to see Christmas in Columbia County. Nick Veland joining us live from the festivities going on at Evans Town Center Park. Nick, you've got a special guest. I don't want to say one more word.
That's exactly right, Richard. From the North Pole himself, Santa Claus is joining us here on News 12 at 6 o'clock. Santa, welcome, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, I bet.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. This is great. I love it.
What can you tell me about the festivities? Got all the lights on. How special was it to light the tree tonight here?
It was special. It took a minute to get it going, but we got it going, and it looks great, doesn't it?
It looks fantastic.
I love it.
It looks, and all the kids, you know, you had a long line out of your trailer today to speak to them. What have they been saying? What have they been asking for Christmas?
The girls want Barbie dolls. Always Barbie dolls. The boys want dinosaur Legos.
Okay.
Popular two things so far.
That's
so I got
awesome.
the elves at North Pole working on it now to make sure we got enough.
All right, and the busy schedule, almost 20 to 24 days until Christmas. You know, what's your schedule look like until then?
It's pretty packed. A lot of appearances in different places. In fact, we got a parade coming up here soon. So we're going to make it to that one and a couple more, and one in North Augusta and Augusta. Bunch of places to go. A lot of places to be.
Exactly. That's awesome. Yeah, and that parade is here in Columbia County on Saturday. And what do you want, kids to know if they're on the naughty list right now? What do you want them to know to get on the nice list right before Christmas?
To move from the naughty list to the nice list, it's very simple. Listen to your parents, do what they say, and be nice to everybody you meet. That's the way to move.
That sounds awesome. All right, Richard, back to you.
Nick Veland, the big man with advice for kids on the naughty list. I love all that. Best wishes to Santa, because he's right. A very busy time of year for him. To Aiken now, where the 35th tree lighting celebration is underway. Aiken's new mayor, Teddy Milner, set to make another appearance along with Santa when he hops over that way. They're going to have more than 8,000 lights on display and performances by East Aiken singers, USC Aiken's concert choir, and look at the size of the turnout there in downtown Aiken. You still have time to head over there. Downtown Aiken, this event is free. It looks like a beautiful night over that way. Now, of course, because of the weather, several Christmas events have been moved or been canceled. The Grovetown Christmas Parade and the Graniteville, Vaucluse, Warrenville Parade, they've been canceled. The Grovetown Christmas Festival, that's rescheduled for December the 8th. The North Augusta Christmas Parade rescheduled to December the 10th. That'll kick off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then the Augusta Christmas Light Up Spectacular and tree lighting events, that will happen December the 9th, starting at 4. And then Columbia County Christmas Parade happening Sunday, as Santa just said. We're going to have the full list of all the events on our website, wrdw.com. Things are changing by the day with the weather moving in, but check it out there if you want to know the latest. The SEC Championship game will be here before we know it this weekend. Next in sports, head coach Kirby Smart talks about the injuries for 4 of Georgia's best offensive players, including the superstar tight end Brock Bowers.
First deals are held over at Great Deals on Furniture. Sale ends this Saturday at 6 p.m.
You could see a lot of life here. Cars are out there actually hydroplaning. I think it's a dangerous situation.
Mama?
She's on her way, bud.
Hey, hon. It's nasty out there.
Yeah, I'm glad you're home.
Stay safe.
I will. Tell them to save me some. When others head in, we head out. Dominion Energy.
Black Friday shopping starts now at Jimmy's Home Furnishings. Come visit our all-new mattress center and save up to $800 on select adjustable mattress sets. Plus, we have deeply discounted clearance items that are up to 40% off. We're also offering 60-month 0% financing on all of our new inventory. Jimmy and his son Alex want to thank you for shopping with us and supporting a local family-owned and operated business here in Grovetown, only 2 miles off exit 190. Jimmy's Home Furnishings, where it feels like home.
On your sideline, sports brought to you by the Hawk Law Group.
The SEC championship game between the Georgia Bulldogs and the Alabama Crimson Tide is getting closer and closer with each passing second. As that clock continues to tick, the concerns surrounding some of the availability of Georgia's best offensive players is starting to give the Dogs something to think about.
The Southeast Showdown, sponsored by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
The statuses of tight end Brock Bowers, wide receivers Ladd McConkey and Ra Thomas, as well as offensive lineman Tate Ratledge, are still all up in the air ahead of the Dogs' showdown with the Tide. All 4 of those players missed Georgia's regular season finale against Georgia Tech. Over the past couple of years, Georgia has been led by their outstanding play on defense, but this year it's been noticeable just how dynamic their offense can be when all their best players suit up on game day.
Tate has done some drill work, some 11-11 stuff. Brock sprinkled in some of that. It bothers me that people have said out there that we sat these guys for the last game. That wasn't the case at all. They couldn't go. And I don't know if they're going to be able to go in this game. It's just unfortunate to have those kind of injuries, especially 4 starters, on offense.
Aside from this year's game, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey told reporters the SEC and the Atlanta Falcons have reached an agreement to keep the SEC championship game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium through 2031. That's it for sports. We'll be right back after this quick break.
The First Alert team, named best in Georgia.
Did you know? All right, another quick look at your 74 more. All right, another quick look at your 7-day forecast here. We are looking at rain chances to start to ramp up late into the day tomorrow, but really much more likely this weekend.
Our next live update, 7 o'clock on NBC 26. We hope to see you then.
At the CBS Evening News, we focus on solutions, finding solutions to help people understand what are the right choices to make for you and your family.